Welcome back for another deep dive.
Always exciting.
Yeah, today we are headed to Yanjin, China.
Oh, wow.
It's a city that's been making waves online for its incredibly narrow layout.
Really?
Yeah, we're talking buildings like sandwiched between these cliffs.
Wow.
A river just snaking through the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
And stairs.
Lots of stairs.
Enough stairs to make your calves scream.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So imagine a place that's so compact
Right.
that you could practically borrow a cup of sugar from your neighbor across the street.
Wow.
That's Yanjin.
That's incredible.
And we are diving into a YouTube video that captures all of this.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so it's just amazing to me how this city is squeezed into this really tight space.
Yeah.
And it still manages to house over 100,000 residents.
That is wild.
So the video does an amazing job of showcasing this really unique geography. You see these high-rises all lined up in a single row.
Wow.
Practically clinging to the cliffs alongside this like brown, kind of polluted river.
It's almost like they built the city upwards because there was nowhere else to go.
It's like they had no other choice.
Yeah.
And that main road,
which
is constantly winding alongside the river,
right,
looks barely wide enough for two cars to pass each other.
Oh, my goodness.
I can't even imagine trying to parallel park there.
No way.
That would be a nightmare.
That's a hard pass for me.
Yeah, so the video also features some really breathtaking shots from the suspension bridge.
Oh, cool.
It's like this panoramic view of the city.
Wow.
But I have to admit, like, those with a fear of heights might want to close their eyes for that part.
Yeah, I was going to say, that looks a little scary for me.
I got a little vertigo just watching it.
I bet.
But here's the thing. You know, living in a place like Yanjin, you're nestled between these cliffs, and it looks like it's prone to floods and earthquakes.
Oh, no.
You would think the residents would just be living in constant fear.
I would assume so, yeah, for sure.
The video actually reveals something kind of fascinating. It's like a paradox. There's a real sense of peace and community that permeates the whole city.
That's lovely.
So the YouTuber is constantly being greeted by these friendly locals invited for tea.
Oh, that's nice.
And they're really struck by the warmth and the hospitality of the people.
Wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah, there's this one scene where the YouTuber is having tea with some locals. And they're discussing, like, the joys of their simple life.
Wow.
And it kind of makes you wonder, like, is this sense of community that we're seeing? Is it fostered by this close proximity, by these shared challenges of living in such a unique environment?
That's a really good question.
Yeah, because you would think that would be the opposite.
Totally.
You'd think everyone would be at each other's throats.
Right? You'd think they'd be very territorial.
Yeah, like, get out of my space.
Yeah.
But it seems like the opposite is true.
It seems like the opposite is true. That's so interesting.
And then you also have to think about the cost of living.
Yeah.
The YouTuber mentions renting this spacious apartment for around $100 a month.
Oh, my goodness.
That's practically unheard of in many parts of the world.
Absolutely.
I mean, could this be like a model for affordable living? Or are there trade-offs?
Yeah, are we missing something here?
That we're not seeing.
Right, is it too good to be trade?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a really good point.
So it brings up a lot of questions.
Yeah.
But it's really fascinating to see,
for sure,
this completely different way of life from what so many of us are used to.
Absolutely.
And I'm also curious, what about the younger generation in Yanjin?
Oh, good question.
Like, are they drawn to this allure of bigger cities?
Right. Do they want to get out of there?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or are they content with this more traditional way of life?
Interesting.
So the video offers us some insights into that.
Okay.
And we see young people playing basketball, enjoying games of snooker.
Okay.
And they're even engaging in this activity that they call pup.
Pup?
I don't know what that is.
I've never heard of that.
I'm really curious about that.
Me too.
But it seems like a lot of the young residents do end up leaving Yanjin to seek work elsewhere.
Makes sense.
But they often return for family visits and for the holidays.
That's really nice.
So there's this sense of connection, this pullback to their roots, even after they've experienced life outside of Yanjin.
Interesting.
Yeah, and there's also a mention of the declining birth rate in China.
Right.
Which is a concern that weighs on the minds of some of these residents.
Understandably.
Yeah, because they're thinking about the future generations.
Of course, yeah.
And what that's going to look like for Yanjin.
That makes sense.
So it seems that even in a place as unique as Yanjin, global trends still have a presence.
That is fascinating.
But now let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
And talk about adventure.
Right. I'm in.
So the YouTuber decides to tackle what's been dubbed the most dangerous hike in China.
Oh, boy.
It's this cliffside trek with breathtaking views and, well, a healthy dose of risk.
I bet.
And this is where the visuals truly shine.
Okay.
We see this ancient staircase carved into the cliff face.
Wow.
A path that was historically used by farmers and traders.
That's amazing.
So when you see the YouTuber navigating this narrow path with sheer drop-offs on either side,
oh my goodness,
you really get a sense of the danger involved.
I bet, yeah.
And there's even this moment where the YouTuber nearly loses their footing.
Oh, no.
And almost falls backward. Yeah, it's a stark reminder of the real risks involved.
Absolutely.
But then what's striking is that even in this precarious setting, you see locals just casually walking along this path.
Right.
One woman even has a bird perched on her shoulder.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
It's incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So it's this powerful reminder of how our perception of risk is often shaped by our own experiences and by cultural context. So what we might view as terrifying is simply everyday life for the residents of Yanjin.
That's so true.
It's just amazing how adaptable humans can be.
Totally.
But before we get too caught up in the thrill of this hike, I think it's worth noting that the video also takes us beyond the city center.
Right.
We get a glimpse of a village outside of downtown Yanjin, where life just seems to move at a slower pace.
Gotcha.
And it's interesting to contrast the village with that bustling city center.
Right.
The village has this more traditional feel with newer buildings, but this quieter atmosphere. And it's almost like stepping back in time.
That's so cool.
There's a sense of tranquility there, a different kind of peace than what we saw in the city.
Right.
And speaking of sensory experiences, let's talk about food.
Let's do it.
The video showcases some of the local cuisine.
Oh, awesome.
And it all looks absolutely delicious.
I'm getting hungry just thinking about it.
The food scenes are truly mouth-watering. Like there's this Chipotle-style noodle soup where diners get to choose their own ingredients.
Oh, fun.
And it's all for just $1 a bowl.
Wow.
$1.
That's amazing.
Can you imagine finding that deal in a major city?
No way.
I know.
That's incredible.
That's what I call affordable dining.
Yeah, sign me up.
And the video also features these sweet potato noodles.
Oh, cool.
Which are a regional specialty.
Right.
And then there's this pork dish that the YouTuber claims is better than bacon.
Better than bacon.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I don't know about that.
But I'm definitely intrigued.
I'm intrigued for sure.
And what's interesting is that even in the village, when they visit a local restaurant, the table is overflowing with food.
Wow.
And it just reinforces that cultural emphasis on sharing meals.
Yeah.
And abundance that we've been talking about.
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful tradition.
Yeah.
But amidst all the visuals and the culinary delights, the video also introduces us to a local guide named O.
Okay, interesting.
And O's story adds this really fascinating layer to our understanding of Yanjin. We learn about his childhood, the loss of his mother at a young age, and his early experiences working in a restaurant.
Wow.
And it's a reminder that even in a place that seems so different, people share similar life experiences, challenges, triumphs.
It's the circle of life.
Yeah, exactly.
We all go through it.
But O's story isn't just about hardship. He also talks about his adventurous spirit, about how he saved up enough money to backpack across China alone.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and it speaks volumes about his resilience.
Totally.
And his desire to explore the world beyond Yanjin.
Yeah.
And yet, despite his travels, he ultimately chooses to return to his hometown.
Wow, that's interesting.
So I'm curious about that decision.
Yeah.
What is it about Yanjin that draws him back?
Yeah.
Is it the sense of community, the familiar rhythms of life, or something deeper, like a connection to his roots?
Maybe it's all of it.
Yeah.
All of the above.
Maybe it's a combination of all those things.
Right.
It seems that Yanjin, despite its limitations and its challenges, offers this sense of belonging.
Right.
That's hard to find elsewhere.
Yeah, that's so true.
And it makes you wonder.
Yeah.
Like in our pursuit of bigger and better things.
Right.
Do we sometimes overlook the value of what we already have? The importance of those deep connections to place and community? Yeah, it's really thought-provoking.
It is.
And maybe Yanjin, in its own unconventional way, holds a lesson for us all.
I like that.
So speaking of lessons,
Okay.
this whole deep dive has been full of them.
Yeah, it has.
We've seen the incredible adaptability
Right.
of the human spirit,
For sure.
the power of community,
Absolutely.
and the beauty of simplicity.
Yeah, I love that.
It's been a fascinating journey.
It has.
Yeah, we started by being intrigued
Right.
by the city's unique geography.
Yeah.
Its narrowness, almost like a spectacle in itself.
Totally.
But as we delve deeper,
yeah,
we discovered so much more.
it's like peeling back the layers of an onion.
Exactly,
Yeah.
revealing the complexities and the nuances
Yeah.
of life in Yanjin.
Very cool.
And one thing that struck me is this contrast between tradition and modernity.
Right.
We see elements of both just woven into the fabric of this city.
Totally.
Yeah, and it's not always this seamless blend. Right.
There's a tension there.
Okay.
A push and pull between the old ways and the new.
Right.
And we see it in the younger generation leaving to seek opportunities elsewhere.
Yeah.
But also in their desire to return to their roots.
Interesting.
We see it in the traditional food and customs.
Yeah.
Alongside the Chipotle-style noodle shops.
Right.
Yeah, it's almost like Yanjin is caught in this balancing act.
Okay.
Trying to navigate the forces of globalization.
Right.
While preserving its unique identity.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And perhaps that's a challenge that many places around the world are facing today.
Totally.
How do we embrace progress without losing sight of what makes us unique?
That is the question.
Yeah, it's a question that goes far beyond the narrow streets of Yanjin.
Yeah.
It's something we can all ponder.
Absolutely.
In our own lives.
For sure.
And in our communities.
In our communities, yeah.
Absolutely. But let's not forget.
Yeah.
The human stories at the heart of it all.
Right.
So, O's journey.
His decision to return to Yanjin, despite his experiences in the wider world.
Right.
It's a testament to the enduring power of place and belonging.
Totally.
And it's a reminder that home isn't just a physical location.
Right.
It's a feeling.
Yeah.
A connection that runs deep.
For sure.
And sometimes it takes venturing out into the world to truly appreciate what we have waiting for us back home.
That's a good point.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
I'm left with this sense of awe and wonder.
Yeah.
You know, Yanjin with its narrow streets, towering cliffs, and vibrant community.
Absolutely.
It's challenged our preconceived notions.
Yeah, it has.
And opened our eyes to a different way of life.
That's what we're here for.
Exactly. It's shown us that beauty can be found in unexpected places.
Absolutely.
That resilience and adaptability are essential human qualities.
They are.
And that the bonds of community can thrive even in the most challenging of environments.
I love that.
And perhaps most importantly, it's reminded us that there's always more to learn.
For sure.
More to explore.
Totally.
And more to discover.
Always.
Both in the world around us and within ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as we kind of leave the towering cliffs and the winding river of Yanjin behind, I'm left pondering a question.
Okay.
Knowing what we know now about this city,
Yeah.
its challenges and its unique charms,
Right.
would you trade the space and comforts of a more conventional life
Okay.
for the strong sense of community and affordability that Yanjin offers?
That's a question that really makes you think.
It does.
It challenges us to examine our own priorities.
Absolutely.
Do we value individual space and freedom above all else?
Right.
Or are we willing to embrace
Yeah.
a different kind of lifestyle?
Right.
One where community and connection are paramount.
Yeah.
Even if it means living in closer quarters.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Really is.
And it also prompts us to consider
Okay.
the true meaning of quality of life.
Right.
Is it measured by square footage and material possessions?
Hmm.
Or by the strength of our relationships and our sense of belonging?
There's no easy answer.
There isn't.
It's a deeply personal question.
That is.
And what appeals to one person might not resonate with another.
Exactly.
But I think that's the beauty of exploring these different ways of life.
For sure.
It expands our horizons.
Totally.
And it helps us to better understand our own values.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And perhaps through this exploration, we can find inspiration for creating more fulfilling and meaningful lives.
Right.
Regardless of where we choose to live.
Love that.
So as we conclude our deep dive into Yanjin,
Okay.
I'd like to leave you with this thought.
Okay.
What aspects of your current living environment do you cherish the most? And are there any elements of Yanjin's way of life that resonate with you?
Right.
That perhaps you could incorporate into your own life?
Okay.
Even in small ways.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Maybe it's making an effort to connect more deeply with your neighbors.
Right.
Or simplifying your lifestyle to focus on what truly matters.
Absolutely.
Or perhaps it's simply taking the time to appreciate the beauty and wonder that exists all around us.
Right.
Even in the most unexpected places.
I like that.
The world is full of diverse and fascinating places.
It is.
Each with its own story to tell.
Absolutely.
So keep exploring.
Yeah.
Keep learning.
Keep diving deep.
And keep diving deep.
Until next time.
Until next time.
Yeah, it's been a truly enriching experience.
It has.
And, you know, as we said, kind of leaving Yanjin behind.
Right.
It really makes you think about, you know, what are our priorities?
Yeah, like what do we really value in our own lives?
Yeah, and what makes us happy?
What makes us happy? Yeah, and
then are we just chasing after all the wrong things?
I mean, it's so easy to get caught up.
It is.
In that rat race.
Right, just constantly striving for more.
More, yeah.
And bigger and better.
Yeah, and maybe that's not the answer.
Right.
Maybe it's about finding contentment.
Contentment, yeah.
In the simple things.
I like that.
Yeah, and appreciating
the
connections that we have.
The people around us.
The people around us, yeah.
Our community.
Our community, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a really powerful message.
It is.
That we can take away from this deep dive.
Absolutely.
And I hope that our listeners will kind of reflect on that.
Right, and think about what are their priorities.
Yeah, what really matters to them.
Yeah, and how they can maybe, you know, incorporate some of these ideas.
Right.
Into their own lives.
Into their own lives, exactly.
Yeah, even if it's just little things.
Little things, yeah. Just small changes that can make a big difference.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
On this deep dive into Yanjin.
This was really interesting.
It was fascinating.
Yeah.
Until next time, keep exploring.
Keep exploring.
Keep learning.
Keep learning.
And keep diving deep.
And keep diving deep.
We'll see you next time.